Welcome to this week's episode of Primetime Football. I'm your host, Sam Morco.
And I'm Ben Smith.
On this week's show, we have a lot for you, including Europa League action, Champions League action. But first, before we get into that, let's look at what happened this past weekend in the English Premier League.
Let's get right into it. Two games that stood out to me this last weekend were the Liverpool-Newcastle matchup, or trouncing I should call it, and the Chelsea-Swansea game. Obviously, Newcastle is a team that hasn't been playing well all season, especially of late with injuries. Obviously, they've been plagued by injuries to Harden Ben Arfa and other such quality players. But there's really no excuse to lose to a team like Liverpool, who hasn't even been playing in that great a form of late. They lost 6-1, or 6-0 actually.
6-0. You mentioned that scoreline was a bit... I was a bit shocked by that scoreline, losing 6-0, yeah. But Newcastle are a team that haven't been performing at the lengths that they were even this time last season. But my biggest surprise of the whole game was Liverpool winning 6-0. Yeah. Mainly because they lost Luis Suarez, who's serving a 10-game suspension and £330,000.
Now, it's not so surprising that they're playing without Luis Suarez, who is their best player, obviously, especially on offense. But, this is a team, Newcastle, that got blown out by Manchester City a few weeks prior, 4-0. And I guess it's really not so surprising. They got a red card. Debuchy got a red card in the 75th minute, however. I mean, this game was already long decided by the time that they were playing shorthanded. There's no excuse. Daniel Sturridge, 2 goals.
He's really lighting up. This is, I believe, Daniel Sturridge's best season in the English Premier League.
Absolutely.
He at Liverpool. Well, now that Luis Suarez is now going to be playing for 9 more games, he has
an opportunity
to actually use these games to leapfrog into even international play, into being England's number 9. As you know, Wayne Rooney has not been performing that well at Manchester United, so it's a perfect opportunity for him. For the weekend, the one game that stood out to me was the Chelsea versus Swansea game, which Chelsea won 2-0.
Yes.
Chelsea weren't really into the game in the first 25 minutes, and then things changed when Ramirez got injured and Frank Lampard came in, because soon after, there were two goals soon after. And the key thing about the game is the fact that over the last couple of weeks, Frank Lampard hasn't been playing as much as he regularly does, and right now he's chasing a record of being Chelsea's top scorer since I think the record right now stands at 202 goals, and he scored over the weekend with a penalty kick.
Yes.
And now he's at 201 goals, so he's right there. This is certainly something to watch, and also you have the top 4 finish, the top 4 battle, so it's pretty cool.
Well, good for Frank Lampard. I mean, he's a quality player. I mean. To be doing the same things that he's been doing all his career, as in such a late stage of his career now that he is. As you said earlier, Chelsea plays disinterested early on, kind of the theme for this season. But right before halftime, Oscar scores in the 43rd minute, and then Frank Lampard right afterwards in extra time right before the half, and they put it away. Obviously, Swansea is not one of the better teams out there, but they got the quality win over a poor opponent.
Let's look at upcoming fixtures. Obviously, in this coming Sunday, 6 days from today, Manchester United square up against Chelsea.
Yes.
What are your takes on this matchup?
Well, Manchester United just drew with Arsenal. This is a team that is in coast mode right now. They've already won the Premier League. Not surprising that they would sit some starters. I wouldn't be surprised if Chicharito gets the start. Rooney hasn't been playing. He's been playing injured lately. Hasn't been playing up to the quality that he's used to. So I see maybe even Van Persie sits down. Something like that.
The fact that Manchester United don't have anything else to play for, I think you'll see a stronger team, because they're not in the Champions League. If they had, let's say, some other cup to go after, I'd agree with you with the fact that they'll play a lesser team or not the best 11, but I don't see that happen. I think Alex Ferguson is one of those managers that actually goes out to win every single game.
Yeah, and I mean, I was going to stop you before when you said that they had nothing to play for, because that's not true. Manchester United, every time they take the pitch, has something to play for. They're trying to get the win, obviously.
And obviously you have the whole matchup, it being a derby, and Chelsea being one of their biggest rivals.
Well, I'd like to say that just because it's a logjam down here in third place to fourth place, that Chelsea would have a lot more to play for than Manchester United in this situation. So I would expect Chelsea to come out playing with more interest, with more form in the first half, I would hope.
Were you surprised by the matchups that happened in the first round?
I wasn't surprised by the results necessarily. I did pick.
So wait, you had it Real Madrid versus Dortmund winning 4-1, and Barcelona versus Bayern Munich.
Well, I did say Bayern would win, what, 3-1, something like that, and it wasn't too far off from that. But no, the Dortmund result really surprised me. I mean, they came out and they shut down Real Madrid. I didn't say that it was impossible, but I said that it was very unlikely, and I do like Real Madrid to still win the Champions League. I think that they can come back. I think that this is going to be the matchup to see. I think Barcelona's done, however. They're too far in the hole. They didn't score a goal.
But I mean, Barcelona has been here before.
Sure.
The last round.
What are they going to do? They're going to beat Bayern Munich for 5-0?
I don't see that happening.
I don't see it.
I must agree with you. But looking at the set of Spanish teams, you could say that Real Madrid has a better chance of winning.
They have a slightly better chance.
Because all they have to do is just score. It's 4-1. They
Yes.
score three goals.
They can win 3-0. They can win 4-1, but they can't let up more than one goal. This is
obviously you got the whole
crucial.
As long as they can score goals and keep
them under one
goal, because
they can go no goals.
Yeah, they can go with Aguero.
Can they contain Robert Lewandowski, however, because he had a game. I don't know if anybody else had seen that.
His touch in the first game was superb. If there's any young strikers watching, that's how you play. That's how you play really good football. I read an article which said that Jose Mourinho came out and said that they've kind of like looked at the tapes and they've mastered and they know how to stop him in the second leg. If that is the case, we'll find out in the.
I don't know. Hindsight is 20/20, but you really can't say that we now know how to contain them just by playing them one time in Germany. This is also extends a losing streak for Real Madrid. I saw they've lost now 7 in a row, I think, straight in Germany when they played. But if there ever is a home team that could come back, it's Real Madrid. I think that they have a real shot to come back, but it's going to be an uphill fight, obviously. They have to contain Robert Lewandowski. They showed that they can just blow through the middle. The middle of that defense, the center field, is playing poor right now for Real Madrid.
If I can put you on the spot, what are your predictions? Both Spanish teams are home. I'd add to that.
I say Barcelona goes down swinging. They put up a good fight, but it might be, I don't know, they can coast. It might be a 2-0 victory for Barcelona, and they would still be crushed in the aggregate.
All right, so you're saying we're going to have an all-German final?
It's looking to shape out like that right now. I really hate to admit it, just because I did want to see the El Clasico game, but I really did think that Real Madrid, this was their year, and they didn't play with such poise as a championship team last week. However, I still believe in them. I still think that they can do it, but Ronaldo has to put up points, and they have to play good defense, which is not something that they did last week. They have to stop Robert Lewandowski, and they have to stop them from running up the middle on him, because it's insufferable. You can't do that, especially at this stage in the game. It's pathetic.
Let's transition now to Europa League. The matchups that took place was Chelsea versus Basel, which Chelsea won 2-1, and Fenerbahce versus Benfica, which Fenerbahce won 1-0.
Surprises, not too many surprises, I guess. Chelsea leads 2-1 in aggregate goal behind Victor Moses and David Luiz's goal in penalty time.
Did you see that goal?
I didn't see the goal, unfortunately.
It was a goal off of a goalkeeper error, but I believe the free kick was about, I'd say, 35 yards from goal.
Oh wow!
And he shot it right through the wall. It kind of like Oscar moved in like the very last second, and the ball just went through the wall. And the goalkeeper actually had it. He bounced off his hand and into the goal.
That's a heartbreaker, especially for a team like Basel, who isn't as high profile as a team like Chelsea, and an upset in that situation would be it'd be quality. It'd be great.
Only Switzerland team in the Europa League.
Is it?
It's a bit fun fact right there. But what are your take on this? What do you expect? Obviously, I believe Chelsea's going to be home. It's going to be a Stamford Bridge home advantage, and if I'm not wrong, actually, Benfica is going to be home too. So what do you think?
Well, that definitely helps because Benfica's playing down. I know that they can play better than this, unfortunately. I'm not too familiar with Fibonacci as a team, but I think that they have an ability. I mean, they're only playing a goal down, but then the pressure is on. They're playing at home, a goal down. How do they respond to this? And this is what separated them in Champions League too. They just didn't have what it takes to kind of stand up with some quality opponents. And for a team like Fibonacci, who's playing well right now, that gives them the morale boost that they really believe that they can play with a quality opponent and that they could even win the Europa League. So I don't know. I mean, this is up in the air. These are all. You might want to flip a coin.
I must agree with you on that note. Obviously, I have Chelsea making it to the next round.
Chelsea should advance. I see them advancing.
And if you remember this, about a month ago, I said I was hoping for a Chelsea versus Fenerbahce final. I think I'm going to stick to that. I don't think it's going to be as easy as I fathom it to be. Obviously, I have Chelsea winning at home, and the fact that Basel knocked out Tottenham in the last round, and they had to go away to do it. I feel like it's going to be a similar mentality. That means Basel's going to come on, but they're going to come to Stamford Bridge fighting, and if Chelsea put up the sort of display that they did in the second half of the first leg, it might be curtains for them because they had control of the game. First half, scored the goal, and then Basel kind of crept back into the game up until David Luiz scored. So
Chelsea can't come out lethargic. They have to play with some real fight. They have to show something that they really deserve to be here, that they want to be here. Even I know that their season in Premier League didn't really pan out as the way that their new coach wanted it to. But I mean, there's no excuses at this point. They are a quality football team, and they should play as such. And yeah, we'll see how they perform.
Yep, less than, if I'm not wrong, 6 games for Rafa Benitez, and the one thing that he could do before he leaves is delivering the Europa League.
It would be nice to get one title while he's here, but I mean the time that he has remaining on his stay in Chelsea could be clocked with an egg timer. He's on his way out. Let's see this is a real resume booster if he does get the win.
Well, with that being said, that's all we have for you on this week's show. Join us next week for more soccer.
Hope to see you then.